the vision to be an entrepreneur, that's really your heart's desire, and you're actually wired for that, there will be something inside of you that kind of almost bucks against societal norms. Well, hello there, my friends. Welcome back to the podcast. This is going to be episode number 486. We're going to talk about some things you can do to really get your business up and off the ground. So this is a good episode for any of you who have just started a business, who have an idea of how to start a business. Taking off my watch. Yes, I am. You are really trying to get your business off the ground and you're just kind of stumbling around a little bit. And if that's not you, if you're like, girl, I'm already at 6 figures, then send this podcast episode to somebody who's in like the starting stages. Okay. It's going to be perfect for them. But that's what I want to talk about today. I'll also let you know it is almost 6 o'clock in Kansas City. And what's funny is, okay, so this is not funny, but people are either roosters or owls. Did you know that? Everyone is either a rooster or owl. Their natural bend of their body is either to be an early riser and an early to bedder, or to be someone who likes to stay up really late and then sleep in really late. So when I met my husband, our anniversary is tomorrow, by the way, 27 years of wedded bliss. We like to joke. We were at the bus stop the other day and he told one of our neighbors, 26 happy. And I'm like, no, I'm thinking probably only 25, maybe 24. Hashtag marriage. If you've been married this long, but gosh, nobody else I'd rather do this crazy life with. But so how is that related to this? Oh, tomorrow is our anniversary. And when I met Jason, he was actually the general manager at a restaurant where I was waitressing and bartending at. And so he was working like a lot of night schedule. His natural bend is that he's just an owl anyway. And my natural bend is that I'm a rooster, especially when we had kids in those early years. So it was even more magnified, like how opposite the times of the day where we were most effective were. And I think it's important almost that you need to know, I think, especially as a business owner, whether you perform better in the morning or in the evening, because you want to make sure that you're doing the hardest things during the time of day when you're sharpest. So like for me, I rarely do things at this time of day. You'll rarely see me having a class or a training in the evening because my ability to maintain like a level of enthusiasm and excitement. And how many of you know you can't like bore someone into a change in their life? Did you know that? I love that saying. You can't bore someone into a change. So like there has to be a level of excitement and, joy that I'm bringing to the table, clarity to hear from heaven, those sorts of things. And I have my ability to be able to do that. It goes down significantly after, we're going to say, about 4 o'clock during the day. So I am getting ready to have a webinar coming up. It's a totally free webinar. If you're interested, by the way, you can find it at jenniferallwood.com/ let's see, registration, jenniferallwood.com/registration. It's for those of you who this podcast episode actually applies to. It's for those of you who are just starting your business. It's a totally free webinar about like the different things that you're going to need emotionally in terms of mindset, spiritually in terms of, your faith and God, and then also strategically in terms of some strategies, some things you need to do to get your business going. So that I'm having 2 of those. One's at noon coming up and one's at 7 p.m. And I will do that after hours, which is, just me trying to accommodate a lot of you who are possibly still working a day job or whatever. But my point is, I usually do not do work after 4 o'clock during the day. And right now it's a little after, well, by the time I'm done here, it'll be 6:30. And so this is not the normal time I record. So I'm just letting you know that I'm making a concerted effort right now to bring you, a little bit of excitement to my voice. Just a little bit of passion, all the things, but it's manufactured enthusiasm. Okay. Cause I'm tired. I just get tired the longer the day goes out. And in case anybody cares, now that Jason and I have been married for 27 years and, we've got 4 kids and 3 different businesses, we really are now on a same sleep schedule, but he still does way better late at night. Like, he likes to eat late. He likes to stay up late and watch TV, all the things. I just can't. I'm just, I'm dead tired by then. That's my dog growling. So anyhow, the entire intention of me telling you that was just saying it's after 6 o'clock. My Lord, this is menopause. Okay. Back to your business. All right. This is what you need to know. For those of you who are trying to get a business up and off the ground, I want to tell you a couple things I want you to focus on so that you can get it like up and off the ground fast and up and off the ground finally. Okay, so fast and finally, that's what we're talking about today. So these are in no particular order, okay? But I will say this. The first thing I need you to do is just to decide on one thing that you're going to get this business started with. I need you to pick one product, one offer, one idea, one lane. One lane, like the lane you're going to focus on for today. Now, listen, it doesn't have to be this for the entire, length of the time that you own this company. Here's what happens to so many talented people. Okay. So go with me here. And I'll probably take the long way around to make my point, but I will bring it back. Okay. I'll bring it back. So when you are someone who God has gifted with some entrepreneurial talents, skills, all the things, a lot of times that will include a level of creativity. It will include a level of you needing to think outside of the box, which you're probably good at. It will include a level of you having a little bit more risk tolerance than perhaps people that are around you. It will include you being passionate about a lot of things. It will include you probably, can I just go out on a limb here and say this? Probably being good at quite a few different things. Okay. So see, this is the interesting thing. This is why you know a lot of entrepreneurs who have their hands in a lot of different things. It's not just because, oh, they made so much money on the one thing that they were able to invest in this thing and that thing and this thing. No, it's that once you reach a certain level of success in one industry, a lot of times what happens is you get a little bored, or you do have, the financial capacity, but you end up like going ahead and just wanting to do other things because the truth is you've been multi-passionate the whole time. But the reason you got to the first level of success in business number one is because you picked one thing and you started with that. I guarantee every single one of you that are listening right now, and yes, I am putting on what my clients call my Holy Spirit hand lotion, because I usually either start to prophesy or speak real well when I have hand lotion on. The reason the business number one usually got successful is because in the beginning, every successful business owner hones in on one thing. Okay. Now, here's what our natural tendency as human beings is. Okay. And especially if God has graced you with the ability to be an entrepreneur or leanings in the entrepreneurial way. Okay. So normally what happens is if you are, this could go in so many different directions. Lord, help me pick my words. Okay, bring all the crazy thoughts in. Okay. If you're an entrepreneur, it's not that you have a rebellious spirit. That's not it. Okay. But if God did give you the vision to be an entrepreneur, that's really your heart's desire, and you're actually wired for that, there will be something inside of you that kind of almost bucks against societal norms. Okay. It's not rebellion, but it's like, the rest of the world is doing this, but I think I'm going to do this. Everybody says that I should do this. And instead, I really want to do this. I have a great 9 to 5. It pays well. I've got PDOs. I've got all the things over here, but yet I really yearn to do this. Like, it's like there's this part of you that when the whole world is going left, you're like, but I really want to go right. I really want to go right. And so here's what I want to tell you, that your natural tendency is going to want to be, I don't want everybody to put me into one box. I don't want to sell only just one thing. I don't want to coach only one type of person. I don't want to have only one product. I don't want to have only one offer. Like, I'm good at a lot of things because that's what God graced you, right? And I don't want to have to pick just one. And I promise you, as surely as I'm sitting here, if you do not pick just one, it will actually hurt you in the long run. You guys, after 20 some thousand clients in the last decade, I could give you so many examples of women who diluted their brand way too quickly with, they started off with one thing and then a couple months in, they hadn't seen the results that they wanted. So then they're adding all this other things. And, before you know it, they started out selling earrings, but then now they're over here teaching people how to get their babies to sleep. And then suddenly they're also, tutoring high schoolers in algebra online. It's like, it's too much. You've got to pick one thing, commit to sticking with that for a period. Now, listen, here's what I want. I feel like I'm shouting. Am I shouting? If you're watching me right now on YouTube, you can tell me if I'm shouting. Here's what I want you to know. There's so few things on this side of heaven that are permanent. Okay. If you have coached with me ever, you know that I say this over and over again. So many business owners are afraid to go all in on the one thing because they're afraid that it's going to box them in to this one thing. like forever and ever. Listen, what you decide right now for a business name, for your first offer, for what you're going to price it, like none of that is permanent. Very few things on this side of heaven are permanent. But in the beginning, you do have to pick something. If you continue to think that you can succeed being a jack of all trades, I absolutely will tell you, you are kidding yourself. I love you enough to tell you that. Pick something that you are going to focus on first. And when that becomes successful, then you will have earned the right to then start talking about other things. Okay. So right now, just be the best at making leather earrings. Just be the best at tutoring, high school kids in algebra. Don't also go off into chemistry and history, like maybe later, but right now just focus and get known for one thing. That way people can like recommend you and refer you because you've gotten known as the one thing. It will help to build your brand quicker. It will help to build your social media quicker. It will help you to come up with content actually easier when you're really just focused on one thing. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So that's point number one. You got to start with one idea, one product, one offer, all the things. Okay. Second thing I want to tell you is I want you to get all of the things that are required for starting a brand new business that are kind of like one and done things. I want you to get those out of the way quickly. This is not the fun stuff. It's not the sexy stuff. This is the stuff that a lot of times, if you, again, God has gifted you with the talents and visions and desire to be an entrepreneur, you're going to hate this stuff. You're going to hate it because it goes like against the natural wiring. See, sometimes what I have found is this. I will coach precious women in the beginning stages, especially of starting and growing a business. And there's a lot of shame around, well, I can't figure out how to do XYZ. Well, listen, when it comes to things like the legalities of setting up a business, of starting your LLC or whatever, when it comes to those sorts of things, if you are truly wired for entrepreneurship and a great level of creativity, this is like, there's an internal rub inside of you, like that boring stuff, that legal stuff, that setting up the bank account, the stuff that I promise you is usually just one and done. You just have to do it once. It's going to be not only sometimes difficult for you, but you're going to avoid it because there's so much other fun stuff and exciting stuff in your business. You're going to probably need a lot of times to get help with it because your brain is not wired to think in a very strategic, you do this, and then you do this, and then you do this, and then you do this type of way. It's just not. Do you know that I think the statistic is that 70% of all entrepreneurs, adult entrepreneurs, have ADHD? I think that's a statistic. Do you want me to check it real quick? Let me check it so I'm not lying to you, okay? Hang on just a second. I heard Dave Ramsey quote it the other day. Okay. Yep, you're going to hear me type. What percentage of entrepreneurs, hang on, ADHD right there. Okay. The percentage is, dun, 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 dun. Okay, some estimates say 30%, other estimates say it's 70, or it's closer to 60 to 80%, which is where somebody thought it was said 70%. Either way, a large percentage of people who are entrepreneurs have ADHD. And so your brain is not wired to think in like the normal route. Okay. And that normal route is what's going to get your business set up in the beginning. It's the getting the legal stuff out of the way, meaning you're going to have to talk to a bookkeeper or your tax person. If you don't have either of those, but you attend a local church, ask your pastor, ask somebody on staff. Hey, do you know a bookkeeper? Do you know a tax person? I need to get my business set up in the state of whatever. They might ask some questions like, well, what kind of a business is it going to be? And then, you just need to get it set up legally. The Bible says that we're to give Caesar what Caesar is due, which means that even though we all hate paying taxes, Uncle Sam does want a portion of what you make. Okay. If you owe in taxes, just know that it's because you've made money. So praise God. All right. I'm just going to have you look at taxes from a different angle. So there's that. But the legal stuff is a lot of times what weighs entrepreneurs down. It totally holds them back in the beginning. They haven't gotten anybody to do anything. They're mingling bank funds. They're taking money. They're putting money into a Venmo account, that they transfer into their personal account, and they don't have a business bank account. They don't have a tax ID number. Friend, you got to get that stuff done. I know that it's no fun, but getting it done and out of the way, once it's done once, then you're good. Have somebody else do it for you if you need to. But the way that your mind works, possibly, and mine, especially if you are a female who go undiagnosed with ADHD. Women, entrepreneurs especially, but women go so undiagnosed with ADHD. And what we think, or what we used to think that ADHD looked like, is that it was hyperactivity and that it was people, not being able to sit still. Friends, that is, I don't know where I was ever led to believe that. And that can be a type of ADHD, but generally that's not what we're experiencing or displaying as adults. Okay. All right. So you have to get that stuff done. Either go talk to somebody who can do it for you, or hire somebody to do it for you, hire our team to do it for you. But it has to be done. And let me just I was just thinking of this funny example. So last night we had our kids, homecoming for, the high school. Football game is tomorrow night, the dance is Saturday night. But yesterday, Ari was in the parade for the school for the homecoming parade. She walked with her fifth grade class, which means she'll be, transitioning to middle school next year. Ava, who is now a senior, she has decided to graduate a year early. So she, even if not though, she drove a golf cart, and her and some of the golf team girls, were in the parade for golf. And it was, a lot of fun. And Jason and I figured out it was our 18th homecoming parade with a child in elementary school in a row. We have done that for 18 years, friends. And for those of you who are going to try to sing that, you're going to miss this. No, we're not. We're not going to miss this at all. We are done with the homecoming parades. You don't have to at me. You don't have to try to shame me. I'm just saying the quiet thing that a lot of people don't want to say. I'm done with this season. Okay. So we're glad we're going to be moving on to the next. We have had a child in elementary school for 18 years straight. Okay. So we're at the homecoming yesterday. And again, I've been married to this man for 27 years. Okay. So it's kind of a little bit chaotic. There's the parade is trying to finish. We have to go pick up our fifth grader, but we need to wait until enough of the parade has gone by us that we've actually seen Ava with the golf cart. So we watch for that. And then Jason's, because he's such a generous human, I married the most generous man on the planet. Notice I didn't say kindest. I said the most generous. So he always brings a wagon with extra chairs for people. And, some single lady and her two kids actually used our chairs yesterday, which was great. And he brings snacks and he brings drinks and he brings blankets. So everybody's taken care of and it's fabulous. So he's got this wagon and all the things. So he's going to go walk to our vehicle, which is in one direction. I'm going to walk over to the school and pick up our fifth grader, which is in the other direction. So then I'm thinking to myself, okay, and I'll find him, somewhere. Okay. Forgetting how big our kids' high school is. There's I don't know, is it 2,200 or 2,500 students? It's a huge high school. So now the parade is over and I got to try to find my husband. And, and he's like, walk over to the teacher's parking lot. I'm like, I don't know where the teacher's parking lot is. Where's the teacher's parking lot? What? And I mean, I'm like, I guess maybe that's it. I don't know. And so he's like, I'm in the last row. Well, I'm looking at it and my brain's thinking, okay, well, is it the last row if I'm standing here? Is last row meaning the furthest away from me? Or is the last row meaning the furthest away from where the parade was? But if I was standing over where he is, then the last row, I'm having this whole moment, right? So I bring up Life 360 and you can do it to walking. And I look at it and I'm like, I'm going nowhere close to where my husband is. So I screenshot it and I send it to him. And I'm like, I don't know how to get to you. And literally we're a block apart from one another, but I don't know where he's at. And so he's like, I see you, keep walking forward. He's literally like, you're getting warmer. You're getting cool. Okay. So I find my husband, I get in the car and he's just almost shaking his head at me in dismay. And I'm like, what? And he was like, I just don't understand how you didn't know how to find me. I told you the teacher's parking lot. I'm like, I don't know where the teacher's parking lot is. He's like, baby, how long have we had kids here? I'm like, I know, but my brain doesn't think like that. I don't pay attention to, oh, that's a little parking lot in the back. I bet it's for teachers. Some of you, you're understanding exactly what I'm saying right now. I have a very creative brain. It's a whole lot of fun to live inside my brain, but it's also just very chaotic. And he's like, and I said we were in the last row. And I'm like, I know, but I couldn't decide if it was the last row from where I was standing or from where you were standing or from where the parade was. I didn't know from what perspective is it the last. And he was like, I just don't understand. And I'm like, well, I don't understand you. And this is marriage. I'm saying this because a lot of you're trying to figure out why you can't just get these things taken care of because your brain's not wired like that. You don't think that way. You don't think strategically, on how to go from point A to the teacher's parking lot. you think like I do, well, what if it's coming from that? And so your brain's going in a million different directions. Have somebody that's better at this. If you're married and they are, them. If you have a best friend that's good at this stuff, they do it. If you have a bookkeeper, great, ask them. If you don't have a bookkeeper, find one. But this has to be done. Okay. All right. Bless. Remember, progress is what we're looking for here, friends, not perfection, but those things have to be done to get a business off the ground. And that does bring me up to my last thing, which is just like hire for anything that you're getting stumped on. Or whenever you run out, are you ready? Listen, pay close attention. This is tweetable. Whenever you run out of time or you run out of talent. If you run out of time, you hire people. What does that mean, Jen? Well, one of the women who is in our one-on-one coaching, she was messaging me today. She has young kiddos. She sent some pictures. They kind of were destroying the house this morning. Her and her husband are both entrepreneurs. And she's like, how did you do this when you had young kids? So I think I'm going to do an actual podcast episode on that. And so in her case, like she's just out of time. It's not that she doesn't have the talent for something. She has to hire like us to coach her and us to help her with some of her techie things because she's out of time. She's got 2 young kids. She's only got so many hours in the day. She's trying to help her husband in his business and get hers off the ground. And so she's out of time. Now, some of you have plenty of time. You just have run out of talent, meaning you've been trying to YouTube your way into starting a business for the last couple of years, and you're still no further than you were 3 years ago. And so when you've run out of time, the hours in the day, or you've run out of talent, meaning you just don't know what you're supposed to be doing. And the thing is, like, stop feeling guilty about that. How do you know what you don't know? Like, you've never started a business. How do you know? How do you know what to do, right? But hire somebody then, whether it's my team or someone else's, who can do it for you or tell you this is what you need to do. Because in your pride of not wanting to get help or not wanting to spend the money, you're just like spinning in a circle and nothing's getting off the ground. And if you don't ever get anything off the ground, you're never going to have the impact and the income that you really want. And I want that for you too, because I have lived out firsthand how an entire family can be changed off of you doing the things that God's putting on your heart, being very strategic about your business, growing that stinker. But first, you got to start. So if you never start, you're never going to get to that impact and income point. So that was a whole lot of words. And it is, 6:30-ish almost by the time I'm done here. And I feel like I still brought it. I mean, you tell me. Oh, friends, I love you so much. If I could reach through, the YouTube video that you're watching and give you a big hug and encourage you, I would. If I could reach through the podcast app and just tell you, look, I am so rooting for you. Stop like shaming the way God wired you. You already have everything that you need to be successful in business. And sometimes what you need is you need somebody like me to give you that big old hug, but also, a swift kick in the butt and be like, come on, let's chop. We got stuff to do here. Or you need to get some help, or you need to get some decisions made. Does that make sense? All right, friend. I love you so much, and I hope that this was helpful. Don't forget, I am having that free webinar coming up. Again, you can go to jenniferallwood.com/registration if you'd like to attend that free webinar, which is going to go over maybe just a couple of things that I did here on this podcast, but most of it's going to be very different than what we talked about today, and really get into what you need from just a mental perspective, a spiritual perspective, and a strategic perspective. Okay, now I'm starting to slur my words. My mouth's tired. In order to get your business going. Okay. All right, friends. Love you so much. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye. Easton. You gonna show Lola? You gonna show Lola on the outtakes? You should. She's cuter than I am. Okay. I love you. Come home and see your mom, and happy birthday.